Till now we have learned the different types of counting techniques like sum rule, product rule, permutations followed by combinations. We also discussed the problems related to that. Now in this session we will be learning about binomial theorem. Firstly, let me explain the definition. The binomial theorem is a method of expanding a binomial expression which has been raised to any finite power. So, what is a binomial expression? See, what is the term binomial? Bi means what? 2. A binary or a binomial means 2. So, a binary expression is that a plus b is a binomial expression. 2a plus 3b is a binomial expression. Okay? These are the different types of binomial expressions. And the binomial theorem defines to the expanding of this binomial expression. Suppose this a plus b is raised to the power of 2. Then what is the expression which will get a square plus 2ab plus b square. This is simple, right? We can also find a plus b whole cube. This also we know. This is also simple. Suppose we are given a plus b whole to the power of 7. Then in that case, remembering such formulas is very difficult. So, we need to expand them. In order to expand these binomial expressions, we use binomial theorem. Okay? Then, this is the formula which is used to expand this binomial expression. Suppose this is x plus y. This is the expansion, x plus y whole to the power of n. This is the binomial expression which is given to us. So, in order to expand this term, we will be having these two formulas, both mean the same. Here, this let me explain one by one term of this. Here, this nk means nck. Just remember this representation means nck. We have seen in combinatorics what is this nck means. So, here this x and this is the other term which is x to the power of n minus k, where here you see, as I already said, nck is pronounced as n choose k. That means we have given n and from that n we are choosing some k. You will be learning more how this formula can be elaborated through a particular example. Firstly, let us see the example, and through example I will show you the formula. And these are the properties related to binomial expression. The first property is that the total number of terms in the expansion of x plus y whole to the power of n will be n plus 1. Suppose I am expanding a plus b whole square. Then the total number of terms will be obtained will be n plus 1 means 2 plus 1, that is equal to 3. That is only, right? A square will be getting a square plus 2ab plus b square. So, these are the 3 terms. Suppose if I expand a plus b whole cube, then the number of terms I will be getting is 3 plus 1, that is equal to 4. This is the first property. Coming to the second property, the sum of exponents of x and y is always n. That means I am expanding a plus b whole square. Here n equal to 2. If I expand this, we will get a square plus 2ab plus b square. Here this means that the sum of exponents means these terms. Here what is the exponent of a square? 2. What is the exponent of ab? Exponent of a is 1, exponent of b is 1. So, here also 2, and for b square it is 2. So, whatever term you take, the exponent should be equal to this n, which is 2 in the case of a plus b whole square. Next coming, see, NC0, NC1, NC2 are called as the binomial coefficient. Here this 2 is called as the binomial coefficient. Here it is 1 actually, 1 into a square, as we can also pronounce it as a square. Here this 1 is called as the binomial coefficient. Okay? This NC0, NC1, NC2 so on up to NCn are called the binomial coefficient, and they can also be represented as C0, C1. Instead of NC0, NC1, they can be represented as C0 and C1 also. And coming to the next property, the binomial coefficients which are equidistant from the beginning and from the ending are equal to NC0, NCn. See, as I said from you to see this, a square plus 2ab plus b square. This is the expression which I am given. Here what is the coefficient 1? For this what is the coefficient 1? This is the first term and this is the last term. So, the binomial coefficients are same for first term and last term. So, this property means this one only. The binomial coefficient which are equidistant from the beginning and from the ending are equal, that is NC0 will be equal to NCN. This is NC0 and this is NCN, and NC1 is equal to NCN minus 1. Suppose there are 4 or 5 terms, then we can use these formulas. Okay. Next, followed by problem. After solving this problem, you will be familiar, and this is the formula through which I am going to solve this problem. Let us expand this. See guys, here it is x plus y whole to the power of 4, x plus y whole to the power of 4. According to this formula, sigma means addition. We need to add terms one by one, and it is as NC, first term will be NC naught, k is equal to 0, right. So, first term will be NC naught. So, it will be 4C naught into x to the power of n minus k. What is 4 minus 0 into y to the power of 0? This is the first term. Next, second term will be 4C1 into x to the power of 4 minus 1 into y to the power of 1. Next, 4C2 into x to the power of 4 minus 2 y to the power of 2 plus 4C3 into x to the power of 4 minus 3 y to the power of 3. Next term will be 4C4 into x to the power of 4 minus 4 into y to the power of 4. This is the expansion, and this is obtained through this formula. As sigma is placed over here, I have added all these terms individually. So, if you expand 4C0, what you will get? Try it through the formula of combinations. So, it will be 4 into x to the power of 4 into y to the power of 0. That means, this will be 0 only. Now, this will be 1 only. Y to the power of 0 is 1 only. Next, 4C1. Sorry guys, it's 4C0 is 1, not 4. Next, 4C1 will be 4. X to the power of 3, y to the power of 1 plus 4C2. Expand it and write x square, y square. Next, 4C3. See here, this 4C1 and 4C3 are equidistant. From the beginning is the second term, from the end this is the second term. So, 4C3 will be 4 x power 1 y cube. Next, 4C4, it will be equal to this one only. So, it will be 1 into x to the power of 0 y to the power of 4. Okay. This is the result which you are going to get. Solve this for 4C2, and this is the expression which you are going to get after expanding x plus y whole to the power of 4. Next, Pascal's triangle. What is this Pascal's triangle? Pascal's triangle is used to find the binomial coefficients of the binomial expression. Eventually, you can get the binomial expression also. Pascal's triangle is a number pattern in the shape of a triangle which is used to represent the binomial coefficient. You will be understanding this if you look at the Pascal's triangle directly. Okay. Pascal's triangle has many applications in mathematics, and it is also used in statistics, including ability to calculate combinations. Using these Pascal's triangle numbers, after you know how this triangle is constructed, you can see how widely that combinations can be used. See, this is the Pascal's triangle. This is the Pascal's triangle, okay. As the name itself denotes, is a triangle. It is, firstly it is discovered by Pascal. Here he has written this pattern in this way. Just observe this. Firstly, he had taken 1, 1, 1. These are the 3 ones first he had taken. Next, he added this 1 and 1, and he placed over here, which is 2, and he repeated this one in the below block, and this repeated this one in the below block. Next, again he brought this 1 over here, and in the ending also he brought this 1 over here. Later he added this 1 plus 1, that is equal to 3. Next, 2 plus 1, that is equal to 3. Similarly, starting and ending ones are repeated. Next, the things starting and ending ones are repeated. Later this 1 plus 3 is added and kept as 4. 3 plus 3 is added and kept as 6. 3 plus 1 is added and kept as 4. Next again this 1 again it is brought down, and this one also is again it is brought down, and next this 1 plus 4 is added and kept as 5. 4 plus 6 are added and denoted by next kept as 10. Next 6 plus 4 10. Next 4 plus 1 5. As we already know this one. Similarly, this can be expanded further, and here this 1 will be brought down, here this 1 will be brought down, this 1 plus 1 plus 5 will give you 6, 5 plus 10 will give you 15, 10 plus 10 will give you 20, and 10 plus 5 will give you 15, and 5 plus 1 will be giving you 6, and this one is like. So, this is the way in which the Pascal triangle can be expanded. So, how this Pascal triangle can be used? See, this is the binomial expression. These are the basic binomial raised to the power of 5. They are the basic binomial expansions. See, now if you observe, let me take this second one. See, this x plus y whole square is equal to x square plus 2xy plus y square. And if you compared with this third row of Pascal's triangle, if you observe, here 1 is there, here coefficient 1 is there, here 2 is there, here also coefficient 2 is there, and again here 1 is there, here also coefficient 1 is there. So, you can get some point, right? I will be showing one more thing. See there, the third expansion, x cube plus 3xy, or else see this fourth expansion, x power 4 plus 4x cube plus 6xy square plus 4x cube plus y power 4. Just compare with this row. See, same coefficients 1, 4, 6, 4, 1. 1, 4, 6, 4, 1. So, in this way you can get the binomial coefficients using the Pascal's triangle. Assignment, guys. See, here a plus b whole power 6, I am giving you this term. You try to expand this a plus b whole power 6 using our nck x to the power of n minus k into y to the power of k, using this formula and using this Pascal's triangle. Try to first, in order to derive through Pascal's triangle, first constructs the Pascal triangle. Later you write the terms based on the properties. As here you see a plus b whole power 6, you only find the binomial coefficients, but I will say how these a power and a and b can be raised. A plus b whole power 6 is given. So, the first term will be a power 6. Next, this is for the coefficient. Next term will be a power 5 b. Next, this is for the coefficient a power 4 b square. See, in this way it will go up to b power 6, a power 0, b power 6. This means here a power 6 means it is b power 0 only now. So, this is the term. In this pattern you will be getting. You need to find the binomial coefficients using this formula and this Pascal's triangle. Okay, that is the first expansion. Similarly, you need to find for the second expansion also using the binomial formula and the Pascal's triangle. Next, multinomial theorem. Till now we have learned about binomial theorem. That means the expansion of two terms raised to a finite power. Similarly, you can also find for the multinomial theorem also. Through multinomial theorem in algebra is a generalization of binomial theorem, where the expression contains more than two dissimilar variables raised to finite power. That means in binomial you have taken only two terms, that is a plus b, a plus b, or anything which are only two terms. But in the case of multinomial, you will be raising to more than three variables you are taking in this, and you will be raising to some finite power. Okay, as multinomial is just another word for polynomial, this can also be called as the polynomial theorem. Okay, in multinomial theorem you will be learning how these three variables can be raised to infinite power and what is the expression which you will be getting after it is raised. So, this is the formal. Next concept will be principle of inclusion and exclusion. Firstly, let us see the definition. the inclusion exclusion principle is a counting technique that can be used to count the number of elements in a union of two sets if the size of each set and the size of the intersection are known. That means here we need to find the union. I have already mentioned you what is the cardinality, right? In this principle of inclusion and exclusion, you will be knowing the number of elements that are present in the union. As I already mentioned, cardinality of union of finite set can be known in principle of inclusion and exclusion. What is this cardinality? Cardinality means finding the number of elements. Cardinality can be denoted by n of A. That means we are finding the number of elements that are present in A. This is also can be denoted in this way. This also means finding the number of elements. So, in principle of inclusion and exclusion, we will be finding the number of elements that are present in the union of two sets, provided the number of elements present in the individual set are given and the number of common elements are also mentioned over here. Okay. Using this principle, you will be learning about the principle of inclusion and exclusion. Suppose I am given two sets A and another set B, and I am giving the intersection also I have been given. Then in that case, I can find the number of elements present in the union using now n of A, n of B minus n of A intersection C. If you perform this operation, then you will be getting the number of elements present in A union B. This is for two sets. For suppose I am given three sets here. I am given three sets A, B, C, and I am giving the intersection properties also. In that case, I can find the number of elements present in union using this formula, n of A plus n of B, n of C. This means this means the n of number of elements. Number of elements present in A, B, C minus number of elements present in common area of AB, common area of AC, common area of BC, and addition to common area elements of A, B, C. This is if we are given three terms. What if we are given four terms? How in that case, how to distribute this negative sign? See, this negative sign is distributed based on the number of elements given. Suppose as I am given three elements, like suppose if I am given three elements A1, A2, A3. So, this n will be 3. So, minus 1 whole to the power of 3 minus 1 will be minus 1 whole square, that is equal to a positive 1 only. So, in that case the intersection will be getting positive sign. If at all I am given 4 elements A3, A4 also, in that case this will be 4 and this will be 3, and here I will be getting minus 1. In that case the intersection of all those things will be coming negative. So, this minus sign is dependent on the number of elements that are given for this set. Okay. This I already explained. The problems: how many integers from 1 to 100 are multiples of 2 and 3? Okay, this is an assignment for you. Just try to solve this. This is also an assignment which will be given. See, here I am given the pass percentage. First one is the number of students passed in English, next passed in mathematics, next maths and English, next 45 candidates failed in both subjects. That means this denotes a complement. I have already mentioned how to solve this one. So, you take it as an assignment and try to solve this. Okay. This is also one more thing. In the previous I have given only for 2 sets, right? This is for 3 sets. Don't get scared seeing of the problem. It is just the explanation. 3 sets are given, the intersections are given, the 3 intersections are given, then you need to solve this required question. The last topic of this session will be pigeonhole principle. The pigeonhole principle states that if n pigeons are put into m holes with provided the n is greater than m, that means the number of pigeons are greater than the number of holes, then at least one hole must contain more than one pigeon. See, this concept is arised in the case of arrangement. Suppose we are given only 5 boxes and we are asked to put 10 chocolates in that 5 boxes. Then there is a probability, like at least one box will be getting more than one chocolate. So in that case, how to distribute? So in order to solve such problems, this pigeonhole principle have been arised. See, I am given 10 pigeons and there are 9 holes. Then if I will try to put these 10 pigeons in those 9 holes, then there will be at least one box, because one pigeon is left over here, right? This pigeon must be kept in more than one box, right? So, this pigeonhole principle states that if n pigeons are put into m holes with n greater than m, then at least one hole must contain more than one pigeon. Okay? This is the actual definition of pigeonhole principle. We will see how this can be implemented. Properties: if k pigeons are kept in n pigeon holes, where k is a positive integer, then average number of pigeons per hole will be k by n. That means 10 pigeons are given for us, 10 pigeons are given for us, and 9 holes are given. Then the average number of pigeons per hole will be k by n. Okay? This can be understood more elaborated in this definition. If A is the average number of pigeons per hole, that means let us take this as A. This will be A. If A is the average number of pigeons per hole, if A is not an integer, suppose if now I have shown you 10 by 9, is 10 an integer, 10 by 9 an integer? No, right? Then in that case, how to distribute? Then it will arise like, if A is not an integer, then at least one pigeon hole contains seal of A. What is a seal? Seal means smallest integer greater than or equal to A. That means seal of 10 by 9. What is this seal of 10 by 9? You will be seeing this. Then in that case, you will be getting seal of A. Seal of A, pigeons will be kept. The remaining pigeon holes, you are kept in that holes. Okay, the pigeons chapter is over. What about the holes? And the remaining holes contains at most floor of A. At most means maximum, at least means minimum. At most floor of A, where this floor of A means largest integer less than or equal to A pigeons. Okay. So, I will be explaining through an example. See, 10 pigeons are given, 9 pigeon holes are given. We need to place this 10 into those 9. Okay, 10 holes, 9 holes, 10 pigeons. Average number of pigeons will be 10 by 9. Okay. So, at least one hole contains seal of 1.11, which I already said. Seal of 1.11 means we need to take the greatest number. That means 2 pigeons, 1.11. What is the next integer? 2, right? So, at least one hole contains 2 pigeons. Yes, because one pigeon is left over here. Somewhere I need to place among these holes, right? So, at least one hole will contains 2 pigeons, and the remaining hole contains at most floor of 1.11. Floor means the minimum value. In 1.11, what is the minimum integer you can take? 1. So, remaining holes contains at most one pigeon. It's correct, alright? If this pigeon is placed over here, then remaining holes contain how many pigeons? One hole, right? Okay, this is about the pigeonhole principle. It is mainly taken in order to say how the things can be arranged if lesser number of boxes or lesser number of things are given for it. Problems. See, these are the different types of problems where you can observe pigeonhole principle. I will say you one example. Suppose there are 13 people and there are 12 months. Then at least 2 share a birth month. This problem based on pigeonhole only, because in a year there are 12 months, and if suppose I am given 12 months are there and I am given 13 persons, then in that case at least one person will be sharing the same birth month. Okay? And in the second one, if you see, if you pick 5 cards from a standard deck of 52 cards, then at least 2 will be of same symbol, because 52 in the deck of cards, 52 cards will be there, and there will be 4 symbols, right? Those 4 symbols will be there, right? Then if you pick 5 cards and this is one symbol, this is one symbol, this is one, and this is one. If you want to pick 4, then you can pick 1 1 1 1. No, if you want to pick one more card, then you need to pick at least from any of these symbol, you need to pick one more, na? So, this also a base pigeonhole principle, this you need to try. Okay, this is also an assignment for you. So, summary, the topics till now covered in this session are binomial theorem, multinomial theorem, next is the principle of inclusion and exclusion, next followed by the pigeonhole principle. Okay, thank you.